What else? Lord of the Rings, all these shows, Harry Potter. What do they have in common? Absolutely. Brilliant. Okay. So as opposed to science fiction in which we are dealing with technology, with fantasy we are dealing with magic, or the unexplained and the unknown, versus the explainable and the knowable. Alright? Fantasy has three prongs. We have high fantasy, which will be Lord of the Rings. This huge world is created in which we explain the prehistory of mankind. Okay? Then we have low fantasy, which is more Latin American invention called magical realism, the greatest exponent of which is Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Colombian, with his famous novel 100 Years of Solitude. With magical realism, what happens is that the magic happens in everyday life, happens in our world, but in everyday life. In 100 Years of Solitude, there's this character called Remedios the Beauty. She is the most beautiful girl in town, so beautiful in fact that her hair is green. And when she dies, she ascends into heavens in view of everyone. That's magical realism. Finally, the Harry Potter kind, urban fantasy, in which the magic has close ties to a city environment. Okay. In science fiction, we have several other possibilities too. We have hardcore sci-fi, which we are not going to work with for the purpose of this workshop. We have softcore sci-fi, in which we have a scientific problem, but the scientific problem is in the background, and what we are dealing really is the psychology of the characters dealing with that problem. Okay? And we also have the dystopias, end of the world. You can work with that. So what I want you to do right now is to decide whether you want to work with fantasy or with science fiction for the purpose of this workshop. Okay?
That's easy for me.
Okay, for those of you who choose fantasy, these are the possibilities of exercises. Hear me out. The first possibility is a story about the origin of the world according to you. And it has to be original. You can use elements of mythology and fantasy around the world, but it has to be yours. Second possibility of exercise, the origin of a concept, like the origin of love, the origin of music, the origin of hatred, the origin of a mountain, the origin of a forest, of an ocean. Okay? Third possibility for fantasy, the city hidden in the city, beneath or behind, some underworld in the city. Much in the fashion of Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter series. Or, if you have read the series of City of Bones, City of Glass, that could work too. If, to the contrary, you have chosen sci-fi, here are the options. First, a story about the end of the world, how it's going to happen. Second, a story immediately after the end of the world. Third, a story 75 years after the end of the world. What's the fourth option for science fiction? You're going to take a social or scientific problem and you're going to cast it 100 years into the future, and you're going to examine humanity through that lens. The only rule that I have is that your narrative or your idea of narrative has to at least have one POC character, a person of color, POC, or a queer character, or both. At least one.
What does that second one mean?
Person of color or queer?
Queer.
LGBT. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, transgender. At least a character that is either a person of color or an LGBT character or both.
Do you want to explain the requirement, like the reason behind the requirement?
The reason behind the requirement is that I am a POC and a queer, basically. I am a Puerto Rican pansexual.
Fair enough.
And also, I want the white students to get out of their comfort zone and embrace diversity. And I want the diverse students, minority students, to have a voice. Two birds with one stone.
What was your version of white?
That's a great question. My version of white? I don't have a version of white.
Because I'm white, but there's black people that are white. So.
Yeah, my father was black.
And I'm not really white, so.
Okay, so you understand your position very well.
I get mad because I get called white all the time and I'm not.
Okay.
Well, you can see why.
You know what? You
Wow.
can transfer that situation into a character in your story.
That's true.
And you can work with that. And it's gonna be a great story because it's very personal. So yeah, I'm going to accept that if you decide to do it. Is that okay? Fair enough. What's your name, lady?
That's a good name.
Your name?
Lady. Lois.
Lois. Thank you, Lois.
So is they still, the term queer, that's not like a slang term, that's accepted? I mean, I'm older, so I always thought that was.
That's a great question too.
I mean, I would never say that, but I'm just.
Okay. Let's talk about the word. Let's talk about the N word for African Americans. I'm not gonna mention it because I don't have a right to. But okay. At some point, some people in some African American communities decided to appropriate the word in order to empower themselves. I am not going to cast judgment on whether it was a good or a bad decision,
Sure.
but it has been done. So the LGBT community, in a sense, followed suit and decided to appropriate words like faggot, queer, fag, to empower ourselves. Since that is my community, I can cast judgment on it. I don't think it was a good idea, but I usually go with the flow.
Oh, okay.
Yes?
I totally understand that. Okay, wow.
It does have, it has a different meaning sometimes, because you can say that, like something that's queer. That's why I wanted to ask you what you meant by it.
Oh, yeah.
As in.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Oh, interesting.
So thank you for both questions. I'm going to give you 20 minutes to develop an idea. I do not expect you to have a story in 20 minutes, of course not. But by the end of the 20 minutes, what I want to do is a group discussion, see where your ideas are going, and perhaps give you some pointers as to how to round it up in a cohesive and coherent narrative that is personal enough for each one of you. Okay?
You ran through that so fast.
I'm so
Should've had
sorry,
paper.
Louis.
Do we need to write on paper or can we use our laptop?
Actually, there are notebooks right there that the English department
I'll bring
has
you some
provided
notebooks.
for you all.
This is Doobie's class. Which class is it?
Do you read one?
Comp 1, okay.
Oh, we're all like,
I put like he's an orphan. His parents died in like a battle with another compound across the valley.
Okay.
So
Mind you, gypsies around the world are seen as the lowest of the low.
yeah,
Try to embrace that and also break it. at
that's
the
what I
same
was
time.
gonna try to put him more of like so. I'm putting my character. I don't when I'm using first person, I don't actually see myself in first person, but I'm writing
Okay.
in first person.
Second person can work better for you in that case.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more personal.
Okay. Yeah. Then I can try to do that.
Just think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. But yeah, I kind of wanted to use Cosman is his name as kind of like he's going to become a leader, which he's gone through a lot of hardship. A lot of people didn't think anything of him. He's gone through a lot of crap, and so I kind of wanted to build him up from like the things that people would think are his weaknesses will become his strengths. So, and
Okay.
then Kuda is the other one, the dark colored, the darker, and so I wanted to use him. So, which his like the actual Kuda that I know has cerebral palsy, so kind of wanted to use and intertwine some of that in a way.
I like it.
No,
I like it.
thank you.
All right.
I have to go. Sorry.
Okay. Irina?
Iridium.
Iridian. I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. I know. Okay. I'm sorry. What's your ideas?
Mine was fantasy and city beneath the sea. So it's about this girl, her name is Seal. She came from Florida to visit Fort Worth. She went to a restaurant, I'm pretty sure I know it, Risky Six. So she's going there simply because it's like a popular restaurant here in Fort Worth.
Friskies.
Yes.
We went there last night. Okay.
And so she was there having lunch with her grandparents, grabbing a steak. And while she was waiting, she had to go to the restroom. So she got up and she noticed that there was 3 doors. There was the male restroom and the female, and another one with the lock chain. But the door was like really like worn up, like really old looking, like different compared to what the restroom looked like. So she wanted to go take a look in there, and her waiter had stopped her and told her it's safe for you not to enter. And so she kind of got scared about it.
Got me going
She
already.
got scared, and so she ended up just going to her grandparents, asking them to like if they could leave. Her grandparents didn't know her reason for it, but since she's like really special to them, they did it. They left, and so she was home thinking about it, asking herself why did he tell me that in that way? So she went back and wanted to speak to him, and then from there that's all I could get. So basically, it's like she's gonna find out that in that restaurant there's like something evil other than what everybody tells her that Fort Worth's like a great city or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I could get.
Or maybe like when you go into that door, it's like the reality of Fort Worth. Maybe like because right now it's like like the TV part of it, you know, like the advertised part of Fort Worth, like the good part. But when you go in there, it's like polluted and like dark and gloomy, you know, and like
Or
something like dark, you know, like the real.
or perhaps not necessarily evil or dark. Maybe just reverse. Maybe everything is reversed in Fort Worth. Maybe the person who here is a judge in that reverse world is a janitor, and maybe the grandparents of the girl in this world are her grandparents, but maybe in the reverse world they are, I don't know, somebody else, complete strangers.
Maybe that waiter escaped.
An alter universe.
And the waiter escaped from that world.
Yes.
And you have to kind of actually the waiter, who was he in this world? That is the big question that you need to answer in the story. These are just possibilities,
Crazy.
but I really like his possibility. I like his idea. If you like it, you should go that way. Definitely.
Ooh, and then they like team up together to combine the two.
No, because he's escaping.
No, he wants other.
He doesn't want her to go through that door. He's escaping. He doesn't want her to know the truth.
And he's the evil guy. He's the bad guy.
Maybe.
And he kills you.
Remember, and this is something that literature is trying to teach everyone nowadays there is no one purely evil and no one purely good. Think about that. Think about it. There is no one purely evil and no one purely good. I'm not gonna talk about Adolf Hitler, no. But let's take, I don't know, let's take Judas Iscariot. They call him the betrayer. But the Bible doesn't specify his intentions, his motives. Maybe he was just desperate. Maybe he was just in despair. Maybe he
Bible
was
says he
just
was
afraid.
possessed.
Being afraid, being desperate, being in despair, that makes you human, don't you think? And we're all humans. We experience the dark and we experience the light in different manners, in different ways, in different circumstances, to different extents. I don't know. I don't believe in 100% evil and 100% good people. I don't know. No, this is personal. I really don't see myself as an entirely good person either. I have my evil moments. It's a day-to-day battle actually. So no. But I don't know. His idea I like, her idea I like, your idea I love. Try to, I don't know, if you want to. We're just tossing ideas. This is a brainstorming workshop. Actually, we're not going to see it through. We don't have time. But perhaps you could go that way. Your name again? When? What's your, where are you going?
Well, I have my blog, so I thought of something I like. So, I like this TV show called The Goblin, which is an Asian TV show. And I like doors. I went to Europe and they have so much different color of doors. So, I was thinking this girl who have a mixed heritage. It's progressive from the day she was born to her adulthood. She has the power of going through any door she wants, but each time, depending on her state of mind, she goes through any part of the world she wants, depending on her state of mind.
I love it.
That's where I stop. So it's progressed in the innocent to depend on how you progress as a person. That's how it comes. So when you're a child, your mind is really innocent. So when your power and ability of going through certain door take you to a certain place of serenity. But as your life progresses and depend on how you live and learn, it can get dark sometimes, where you can go to a very bad state.
Okay.
But that's all I get.
You guys have ideas for her? Like for instance, I would like to know how old is this girl at the beginning of the story?
At the beginning of the story, she was born, she able to progress her power at the age of 1.
So this is a coming of age story, is it not?
Yeah.
Any ideas, guys, that we can contribute to Wen's story?
Only thing I like about that is that she's, now I can transverse it into a sci-fi if I want to.
Okay. Yeah, you're definitely in between.
In between.
You're an in-betweener right now. You are in the fringe between sci-fi and fantasy, and I want you to stay that way. It's quite interesting what you're doing. Okay, let me see. What is this girl? What does she want in life?
Well, at the age of 1, she doesn't know anything. Everything is new and fresh. Anything she sees is a learning experience. She follows what her parent decorated in the room.
Okay.
Do that.
One of the ideas that I can contribute to you is that you do not write the story from her perspective entirely. What if you had two voices? What if you had the voice of the girl and the voice of the mother of the girl whenever she disappears? And you speak from the point of view of the search of identity and knowledge and the abandonment. Feeling lonely because your daughter has abandoned you, or she has become lost and you do not know where she is. The desperation, the seeking, the police, the Amber Alert.
So you basically have two stories in one.
You have one story with two sides, and that would be great. Do you guys have more ideas for our
Where do these
class?
stories take her? Whatever she's thinking of, like how she feel. So if she's feel happy, she go to the door will open to a place in the world that is have that thought of she's making her happy. Or it's basically created by her feelings. No, it's different.
So for example, when she's happy, she goes always to the same place.
No, it's that it depend on she doesn't. There is multiple doors, but I started with this group called the Peak. This group go all over the world to create different doors, and then these group for some reason dissipated.
Okay.
It no longer exists. And for some reason, this girl had developed a power to go through all those doors.
Kind of a teleportation
Yeah,
power.
remind me of Looper.
Excuse me? Yeah. Looper, jumper, Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. The idea has been used quite a while, but never in the way that you're using it. So I like it. It's quite personal too. I would love to see it finished, but time is of the essence right now. Dr. Quijano has just told me that I can hear only one more person from this group. So since I heard one guy and two girls, I'm going to hear another guy. Whichever of you three guys want to convey your idea, it's okay. And then I'm going to have to go to the other group because we cannot extend beyond the 5 o'clock. So, okay, Adwan. Adwan?
Yeah. Okay, so
Fantasy or sci-fi? Sci-fi.
it's about it's a perfect world basically, or so they think. There's one girl who's different, and everybody else is basically exactly the same. Their genetics are exactly the same, look exactly the same. They have the same skin color, but she's not aware she's different. Her parents are dead. She lives with her mother's friend, and her mother's friend keeps her sheltered to the point of she's only able to go out at night with heavy clothes. She's given up like this medicine every morning so that she sees herself, her skin, like her color, is not Afrocentric. So she thinks she doesn't realize that she's not that. But one day she ventures out before she's given the medication, and she like gets like angry stares, but from everyone. She's not understanding why. She eventually makes it to like a store with a broken window, and she looks at a shard of glass and she sees how she really is.
I'm going to challenge you to an open ending.
So what?
an open ending.
I don't want you to close that ending. I want you to leave it open. I want you to leave it open so as you never know how the story truly ended.
That's really good. That sounds like the book The Giver, but with like a twist.
Alright, so that'll be the ending of the story, is what you're saying.
Leave it open so that the reader doesn't really know what happened in the end. what
So-
became of her, or no, just leave it open.
That
You
way
will
it
you
could
will
be a
know
short
when
story.
to finish it.
That way it could be a short story though.
Yes, we are dealing with short stories here today. Were you thinking of a novel?
Honestly,
Okay, by all means. By all means.
Yeah, mine was like the premise of a novel or movie. I just did like a story.
Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm sorry that I have to cut it off. Typically, my workshops last a semester, and I try to compress a whole semester in 1 hour. So basically, what I was able to do was give you the basics, and you can work on your own. And it was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take good care of yourselves and keep working. You have great ideas.